Okay, we starting here? All right. Okay, I'm Janice Linden Reed. I think I know a lot of you. And I'm here with also Mike Burrows is present. And we're going to talk about the Lean Kanban University professional programs, Lean Kanban University training. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, so let's just see how we go and we can get to some questions. Okay, so a little bit about the organization. Lean Kanban Incorporated runs Lean Kanban conferences and Lean Kanban University. And our orientation is really around building management and decision frameworks. We're not really about process improvement, which surprises a lot of people, but we are very management focused. And that comes through in our materials. I'm going to talk here about our classes and our professional programs. If I have time, I'm going to get into what makes Lean Kanban unique, what makes our trainers and coaches a little bit different. You may have seen our website, edu.leankanban.com. This is for Lean Kanban University. And you see a whole bunch of things on here. You see a lot of different classes and with different titles and different places. And it might be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try to break it down a little bit into what we present. And a little history of how Lean Kanban University came about. It actually came about from a meeting in Iceland at one of our leadership retreats, like our very first leadership retreat. Where we had a lot of training partners who were giving Kanban training in different parts of the world, and they were getting frustrated that they kept having to have David Anderson come out all the time in order to give training that people really believed in. And they were frustrated, and they said, can't we just somehow get this blessing so that we can just give the training ourselves? And came up with this idea to get this professional accreditation for these trainers. And now today, we have accredited Kanban trainers all over the world. And the point of this is to assure that high standard of Kanban training for the greatest success in the market. So we have a variety of classes and events. Here's a little bit of a roadmap of different things that we offer. There's an introduction class. You see it occasionally. It's a one-day class. More commonly, you will see our foundations class. This is, for example, will be called something like Getting Started with Kanban. It's typically a 2-day class, occasionally a 3-day class. I'll show you some examples of that. A new offering is the Advanced Practitioner level class, and that one focuses more on risk management, scaling, a little more advanced topics like that for people who have some experience. Then we have our Kanban Coaching Professional Master classes. Those are 5-day classes, or they can be taken in we have a couple of 3-day forms of that class. And then we have Train the Trainer. And I will dive into these, more about what these are. So here's a screen from our website that shows someone who has actually taken a class. He took a class from Rodrigo Yoshima, one of our accredited trainers in Brazil. He is here at the conference. Rodrigo is. And you can see here, this is a page that we offer to someone who's taken one of our classes where they can, they can fill out their profile information. And of course, it talks about the class that they took. They can also, there's a button there to view their certificate. It looks something like this. So this is a digital certificate that they can print. They can refer people to it. There are also ways that they can communicate with other people in their class as time goes on. If I drill down into one of our 2-day foundations classes, this is something, and I think this is fairly unique to Lean Kanban University, the way we present these classes. In addition to talking about what Kanban is, and to also we run a simulation where people can experience it a bit, we also teach this systems thinking approach to implementing Kanban, or static. It runs something like this. We have a series of exercises. We have the attendees consider the sources of dissatisfaction for both internal and external stakeholders, so people who are giving you the work. We have them look at the variability. We have them do an analysis of what they're actually capable of delivering and what people are demanding of them. And we break the work down in terms of work item types, class of service, various other components, and then we develop policies around how they can handle these different classifications of the work. Cost of delay, different things are considered. So after we do all of that, we develop the Kanban system visualization. So whereas a lot of other organizations might start with the board or something, we actually really start with looking at the demand and the capability and the reality of what's going on with the work. So that's just an example of what we do with our 2-day class, and of course we have different classes. Okay, professional development. So you all might be interested in maybe becoming a Kanban coaching professional or an accredited Kanban trainer. Those are our 2 professional development programs. And people often ask me what the difference is. Accredited Kanban trainers are people who give certified Kanban classes. Those can be public classes or they can be private classes. They can be internal to their own company. Whereas Kanban coaching professionals are coaches, maybe they were project managers, scrum masters, some sort of a manager in their organization, but they have been charged with guiding or leading or kicking off a Kanban initiative. And they are typically fairly embedded. Sometimes they're consultants who bounce from client to client, but they're typically embedded and they're working day to day on continual change, on different challenges to the Kanban implementation. Here are some of the Kanban coaching professionals on our website. We have a lot more than this, but again, all over the world. A lot of our accredited Kanban trainers are also KCPs. And if you come to our session this afternoon, you will meet many more KCPs at the Ask a KCP session. This is the way the Kanban coaching professional program works, and this is a picture of Michael Robillard, who is here at the conference. He is the director of this program. And the requirements for this, it's not as simple as just taking a class, but there is a class, and that is the Kanban Coaching Professional Master Class in the 5-day form, or you could take it 3 days and 3 days, but you have to get to all of the days included. This class is given around the world by David Anderson, and well, I'll show you in a minute more about that class. After taking that class meets the educational requirements for this program. Then you would prepare an essay, just a short essay about typically like a case study, something that you have been, some kind of Kanban implementation that you've seen, that you've worked on. After you've submitted that, you would schedule a panel interview. Tonight, we're doing a few panel interviews with applicants. So that's something where you'll be sitting with maybe 3 to 5 KCPs, and they will talk to you about your essay, but also about your general knowledge of Kanban and your ability to communicate with your ideas about Kanban. That's the panel interview. It's fairly rigorous. Not everybody passes, but if you don't pass, they will tell you what you can do to work on different areas of where you need more information. There is also an annual fee. I believe the annual fee for this program is $700, and we do have a sort of a 3-for-2 program there where it's you can pay $1,500 for 3 years. That's current pricing. Yep.
On that last slide, the 5-day masterclass.
Yeah.
So the 5-day masterclass is the new format, right?
The 5-day masterclass is a new format. If you, and that's only been given as of 2014. If you took the previous 3-day masterclass, you will still qualify.
Okay.
That is grandfathered in.
Okay, perfect, because that was just last October. But the next question, the panel interview, any chance of observing?
Observing, I would say talk to Michael Robillard and we'll see what he says. Okay, so a little bit more about that masterclass. These are the kinds of things that are covered, and again, this is the new format. And by the way, people who have taken it before, maybe they've taken the old one, are welcome to come and take it again at half price. It's a good opportunity, and it has changed a bit. So this covers rolling out a successful Kanban initiative, advanced Kanban system design, the psychology of change, especially in a continuous change environment. Case study analysis, there's a full day of looking at various different case studies from around the world of Kanban initiatives, and looking at them from a coaching perspective. It also covers risk management, planning, forecasting, and just really addressing your hard questions. It's a very small class, so they're able to really focus on your particular interests. And as I said, you can take this as you can take day 1 to 3, which is called Leading Change with Kanban, or you can take days 3 to 5, which is Managing Risk with Kanban, or you can take the whole thing. And then I have more information about what goes on each day. You can come by the LKU booth, and I have this all on printouts. Okay, so jumping over to the AKT program. What if you want to give Kanban classes? What if you want to teach them? This is an example of one of our AKTs who is here at the conference, Klaus Leopold. And here's a page on our website where it shows, he is in fact both a KCP and an AKT. Here's a bunch of classes that he has taught or is about to teach. So this links off to the information about those and who's taken them. And then we have information about him. So this is all stuff that's listed on the LKU website. I should be clear that these people like Klaus, they don't actually work for LKU. They are accredited in the professional program, but they work at their own organization. And their member organization is also accredited. So this is part of the thing about the AKTs. It looks at the trainer, the training organization, and the materials. So for the trainer, the educational requirement is taking the Train the Trainer class, which is a 5-day class. And that specifically looks, I'm going to jump ahead, that class specifically looks at an intensive review of the foundations curriculum and the advanced practitioner curriculum. That includes your ability to practice doing the training with that curriculum. We also have each person in that class present a case study, and then everyone in the class talks about it. So you come to the class with that. And of course, we cover a lot of advanced questions, especially from the perspective of what if somebody asks you about Little's Law in the course of a class? How are you going to answer that question if you're the trainer? So we make sure that all that stuff is covered, any concerns you have in particular. So back to the requirements, and there's a picture here of Mike, who is right here. He's the program director for AKTs. And also, he's in charge of the curriculums as well. So we have the Train the Trainer class. There's just an application that the trainer fills out. There's a separate application for the member organization. And then there's also a review of the materials you'll be using. So you're not currently required to use our materials. You don't have to use our slides, but we have to look at the slides you will be using to make sure that they're consistent with the LKU curriculum.
Could just jump in? I think increasingly, certainly the more recent entrants are using our material, and we're encouraging that, making that easier, making that cheaper. Yeah. I think we may get to a point where pretty much all new entrants are using our material. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an option to use our material. A lot of people prefer
it's evolved over several years. A lot of work's gone into it. David and I spend a couple of weeks a year together in the same country working on it. It's
yeah. Okay, so there's a number of review points in this process. The AKT is the more rigorous of the programs. And there is an annual fee that the member organization pays. And that's bundled for the organization to give certified training. It includes one trainer and one curriculum review. I'm looking at Mike, that's still the one curriculum review. Okay. So the fee for the organization is $10,000. And if they want to add trainers beyond the one trainer, there's an additional fee for that, and there are various other little things. Now, what I'm talking about here are public class trainers, but there are actually, I seem to have lost a slide, there are actually other types of AKTs. What if you are embedded in a company and you just want to do training inside that company? That's, we do have people like that, and that's a slightly different spin on the AKT. It is less expensive, and it's got its own support system. So there's that. The other thing is there's something that we call a Ronin. It's an independent accredited Kanban trainer. So that means that you actually are not affiliated with a member organization. How do I put this?
It's by design, the program insists that certified training is delivered by an accredited trainer, a member company, and approved materials. We don't say that it has to be, that those all have to belong to the same company. So right. A company A can use trainer from company B and the materials of company C. And the Ronin status just allows trainers, some trainers, to maintain their accreditation and deliver training with another firm. Right. It doesn't let people roam completely on their own without an AKT membership. So it's a slightly grey area. Yes.
Right, so maybe you're really hot to be an AKT, but your employer has not committed yet. You could potentially become a trainer for David J. Anderson Associates, or for Lean Ability, or whatever, some organization that is accepted as a member organization.
It's a grey area. We do take on some associates, but it wouldn't be fair on the other firms for us to take on associates in competition with existing members. So we do that generally to seed new markets.
Yeah, the way that works typically is you'd have some arrangement for the training compensation. Like if you do give a class, they get some percentage, and so that's all stuff you work out with the company, the member organization that you do not work for. So. Okay, I wanted to say a little bit about I'm just going to say a very little bit because I know we have little time, and I want to make sure if you guys have any questions that you can get to those. But just about what makes Lean Kanban programs in general different and unique. And I would say the number one thing is that all of the Lean Kanban programs really rally around the Kanban method. And the Kanban method, it's not a development process. It's not a life cycle process, okay? It helps you improve service delivery and continuous improvement. I'm sure you've all seen this on the LKU booth. I have cards with this if you don't know it by heart yet. But the principles are: start with what you do now, agree to pursue evolutionary change, respect existing roles, responsibilities, and job titles, and encourage active leadership. And jumping ahead, then the practices would be visualization, limiting work in progress, managing flow, making process policies explicit, using feedback loops or kata, and improving collaboratively and evolving experimentally, using a variety of different things. This is a lot of what you see at this conference here at Modern Management Methods. So you see a lot of these compatible models, compatible methods that are not Kanban, but they're things that you can use, you can incorporate, and that is consistent with the Kanban method. This was all developed with the involvement of the community and definitely with the involvement of those accredited trainers around the world. It wasn't like we just said, this is how it's going to be. You know, it was developed over time, and it has changed from time to time. But this is something that is key to anyone who is an AKT or KCP. They will know all about this. Jumping. Okay, so again, the essence of Kanban is really about having this conversation, encouraging acts of leadership, working with where you are now, and being non-judgmental but scientific in pursuing continuous change. So someone who is involved as an AKT or KCP, they're going to be able to talk to you about some, I would say, fairly advanced topics. They'll talk about Kanban as a pull system. They'll talk about, of course, about balancing capability and demand. And I'm jumping through slides here, but they're going to be able to explain how pull systems work, but also the value in terms of things like risk management, about understanding how many people you need to have, about encouraging agility by controlling the commitment point. Here's another way that we look at greater predictability through managing flow. Somebody who's a KCP or an AKT is going to have familiarity with these kinds of models, and from that they could show you how flow is creating greater predictability and greater agility. Flow efficiency, David mentioned this in his keynote yesterday. This is the concept that work that is in progress is often not in progress. It's often stuck, it's often delayed. It just looks like it's in progress. And someone who is an AKT is going to be able to do this calculation for you. And they're going to be able to encourage you to, so they're going to show you ways you can improve your flow efficiency. Now, I would argue that random Agile consultant down the street probably has not heard of flow efficiency and doesn't know how to advise you on something like that. So this is one of the areas where I think the Lean Kanban programs are really head and shoulders above these other Kanban advisors. And you know, a lot of other things around that. Kanban is not just about visual management. It's not just about having a board. You should be able to know about metrics and about, you know, what do you do with them? How do you approach forecasting probabilistically? Again, you see a lot of that in this conference. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. So one of the things that we see is that you can really improve governance and risk management and your adaptive capability with Kanban. So this is all, again, all the kind of information that as a trainer or a coach, or if you're just attending an LKU training class, you should be able to have these kinds of conversations on these levels. I'm going to jump ahead. Okay, I wanted to say a few words about Kanban event. This is scaling, sorry. Jumping. And, okay, Kanban conferences. So again, you're at a Lean Kanban conference right now. We do have these all over the world. And if you would like to run a Lean Kanban event or attend a Lean Kanban event somewhere else in the world, this is, again, part of our entire program is connecting you with a community, a worldwide community of people who are really the top Kanban experts in the world. People, you know, we have some people here who have done stunning things with Kanban, and you have the opportunity to just hang out with them and get to know them and build relationships. So this is part of the entire program of making sure that our community is the best. We have some different things you'll see. We have modern management methods, where we kind of mix it up with a lot of different methods. We also have stop, starting, start, finishing. That's another brand of Lean Kanban conference that has more of a personal productivity focus. And then we have just straight Lean Kanban conferences. That is for more people who just want to focus on Kanban. And again, we have those around the world. I think we have 13 or so scheduled for this year. And then we have some other things in the Kanban community. This also mentions Kanban leadership retreats. People who take Kanban courses, LKU courses, will be invited to, at least on the masterclass and train the trainer level, will be invited to Kanban leadership retreats. And these are gatherings of up to about 50 people, and again, some of the top thought leaders in the Lean and Kanban space. And you get to hang out with them and have this little thought leader conference, and it's great. So this is another way that we encourage that community. So I would love to get questions from any of you about the programs. Yes?
Planning to do any more leadership retreats in North America?
Are we planning to do retreats in North America? I don't know. I think if we do a retreat in North America again, it will be maybe a little bit of a different spin. Not so much the same thing as what we do in Europe. We definitely get more traction of the leadership retreats in Europe. Not sure why. Any other questions? Comment?
Yeah, so I was wondering between KCP and AKT.
Yes.
And it sounds like I'd want to go for the AKT.
Okay, your comment, I just want to repeat it,
Yeah.
as he was wondering about AKTs versus KCP, and it sounded like, which one was more
I think
a fit?
trainer, because I'm not
The
inside
AKT.
the organization.
Okay,
And
so,
I want to be able to show other people this information.
okay, so I'll use that as an example. So if you are not in an organization, you want to be able to introduce other people to this material, then yes, you could do that definitely as an AKT for sure. You could be giving classes. You could do it as a consultant coach. I know of KCPs who are giving classes, but they're not certified, So that's kind of you just have to decide what's right for you. But generally we encourage people to use the curriculum and all that when they do training.
There's always the neat categories, and then there's the people that don't fit into the neat categories
Yes.
as well. And we've come to arrangements. For example, we got one company where we've actually got one internal trainer already trained, another one about to get trained. They're not sure whether they want to go the whole hog and actually become corporate members, not particularly for financial reasons, it's just they're not sure it's not something they want to do. But we're negotiating what to do with the material, and where there's a will, there's a way, generally.
Yeah. Anybody who is interested in knowing more about these programs or in signing up to be informed about upcoming, say, Train the Trainer classes or master classes or whatever, retreats, anything, then just come by the LKU booth and talk to me or talk to Agnes, who is sitting in the back there.
Can I just make a personal comment on some of the stuff that Janice has showed? I just want to highlight the importance of that, the static slide, the systems thinking approach to introducing Kanban slide. I think there are lots of people out there who've read all the books, been to conferences, read Don Reinertsen's books or whatever, and learnt lots of good technical stuff. But it's actually putting it into context in an organisation is where the real value is. And me personally as a trainer, I actually get more enjoyment out of teaching the foundation level class, keeping the technical side of things basic, but getting really serious about making a difference in an organisation, and particularly when I'm doing it for an internal class, a private class rather, rather than public class. You know, we can really get down to business, and that's really satisfying. There's a little. I think it's my most recent blog post points to the static thing. I'm devoted a third of my book to it. I don't think that much of the Kanban community is that aware of it. David did do a talk about it in 2012, I think. I'm doing my best to raise the profile of it, and I think it really helps to differentiate people who really know Kanban from those that don't.
Yeah, and I should also say that, you know, a lot of people have done Kanban based on the Kanban book, which is fabulous. We love the Kanban book. We published it. But a lot of new material, a lot of new material has come out that is not in that book. So that is material you will definitely get at the masterclass and other sources, conferences, retreats. So I would encourage you not to say, oh, I read the Kanban book and I'm all done. There's a lot more to learn. Yeah, there's a lot more to learn.
Have you done any, do you know, okay, so I'm a certified Scrum trainer.
Yes.
And Scrum Alliance is always twitchy about competition. Have you done any investigation of if this is compatible with the Scrum Alliance or not?
So the question is have we looked into whether what we're doing is compatible with the Scrum Alliance, the CST?
We have member firms that teach both.
Pardon?
We have member firms that teach both.
So there you go.
So there you go, yeah.
It's funny, when I go to the Agile conferences, people, they're trying to understand what Lean Kanban University is, and I'll start talking to them about it, and they say, oh, so you're the Scrum Alliance for Kanban. Nice. And I say, you know, it's not bad, not bad.
I always say, you know, it's Kanban with, not Kanban versus as well.
Exactly,
and I think, you know, as soon as, it's the question we get asked in almost every class, you know, Kanban versus Scrum, and we always change that conversation to how do they work together.
Yeah,
and I think that's better understood. I think that's actually better understood even on the Scrum side now than it was a year or two ago. Yeah.
The agreement, training agreement we signed with SA talks about non-competition, and they're actually, I don't know if anybody's safe in here, but they're actually completely targeting against that. But there also seems to be other favorite targets, so I didn't know if you had any.
Yeah, I think there's a new favourite target now, so we're safe now.
We're safe now.
Well,
yes.
For what it's worth, I can look at it from my side to see if we can get like an MOU, so it's a little bit more
okay, well,
straightforward.
Yeah, we can talk about that offline maybe, yeah. All right. Okay, anything else? Please come by the LKU booth and we'll chat.